Good evening. Welcome to the Michael Muse Show, the Overcomer Coach, author of Rise and Burn. And we are delighted tonight. We have a superstar in the house tonight. We have a gentleman who's a motivational speaker. You have a gentleman who's a master trainer in the network marketing. You have a gentleman who's a director of Life Skill Institute. And we have a gentleman who is leading and helping thousands of people all around the country have financial freedom inside their body with the nutrition that he's helping with the products and also with the wisdom that he's instilling. Everyone, if you don't know, I want to present to some who don't know and definitely present to all, Mr. Herbert Harris. How you doing this evening, sir?
I am super great, Michael. I thank you so much for having me on your show, man. I look forward to it.
Well, Mr. Harris, we are definitely in for a treat tonight because one thing I always learn, if you want to advance in what you're doing, you always need to get a coach, someone to mentor you to definitely take the steps to get to the next level. Because the reality is, when we do it on our own, we got to go through a rigorous, bumpy road to get where we have to go. But when we have someone who has already gone that route and already gone that distance, it's always best to follow them by the hand so we can move forward. And a lot of the mistakes that we were going to make, but having that expert guidance, we're able to get past it. And sir, a gentleman like you have helped a lot of people improve their health. You've helped a lot of people become financially free, and you are truly motivating the masses, sir. So my first question for you, sir, with your book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, how did that come about, sir?
Well, Michael, it's very interesting. One day I decided I wanted to teach. I was in New York, and, I'm a retired attorney. I was practicing law, but I was always a personal development, one who pursues personal development. And one morning I got up and I said, I want to teach. I'd like to teach people what I've learned. That after I had already worked with Reverend Ike and studied a lot of his, financial philosophies. The moment I made that decision, I was out jogging that morning. I ran into Dr. Maddie Cook, and she said, Attorney Harris. I said, Dr. Cook, I want to teach a course at your college. And she was the dean of Malcolm King College in New York City. And she said, that's a great idea. What's the name of the course? And out of the blue, I pulled the name Achievement Motivation. She said, I love it. When do you want to start? I said, as soon as possible. She said, come to my office today. I went in, she set the course up. And as I began to look for materials to teach, many of the students there had been out into the world and had families and had jobs and were now returning to the education scene. And there are many great personal development books, Think and Grow Rich, The Magic of Thinking Big, you name it. But I could not really use them in a class. And so I developed a set of notes for achievement motivation. And those notes became the foundation for a first book we wrote, which was called Thoughts for Success. And then after I retired from my law practice, that evolved into the 12 Universal Laws of Success.
Mr. Dr. Herbert Harris, one thing I want everyone to know, as you just said, you are already an accomplished attorney. And like you say, you retired from that field. Yes. And I think, and I truly believe one thing about success, I truly believe people sometimes believe that you have to do one thing to be successful. And what you just showed, sir, and what you just shared is that you could be truly successful in one endeavor in life, but your goals and dreams are so big and there's still so much in you that you had to jump over and advance yourself in other areas as well. So how was that transition like?
Well, that's a great point, Michael, because whenever you get to the top of any field, the top of any endeavor, there's certain common principles that you need to accomplish, you need to succeed at. So it's the same for law, for basketball, for writing, you name it. In other words, you have to have a goal. You have to have a written goal that you really not only write it down, but understand it and feel it in a very sensory fashion. You have to have a written plan to accomplish that goal. And once you've written that plan, then you have to have a commitment to take action on it and take action. And then hang in there until you accomplish the goal. Once you've done that in any endeavor, it prepares you for the next field. You see, you don't want to become stuck. Sometimes people get some success in a particular area and they get stuck there. They get too involved with, you might say, the shiny stuff, you know, the cars, the money. All of that is good, but it's really the person you become that's more important. And so in making that transition, for example, from law to, you might say, personal development, to being a teacher, a trainer, took the same skills that I said, the goal, the plan, the persistence, and then put it into the area of writing the book. And so I sat for 2 years in Cleveland. I had been blessed to retire from my law practice with some money, so I could sit for 2 years and let the book come to me. You know, this wasn't a book that I did a lot of research on. I received a lot of it from the universal knowledge that always exists and then shared it with the world. So same skills, just different application.
Absolutely. I see we have Mr. Benny Randall in the house. Good evening to you, sir. Yes, definitely, Mr. Harris. I think one of the skill sets that I truly see, and I think you hit on it, for success that anyone needs to have, is they had to have a written plan. And I know for me, I had to truly develop a written plan when I was laying on my sick bed. And as I was asking God and just praying and just meditating, just wondering why I was going through what I was going through, I did come to a conclusion. In order for me to get past the point where I can get better, I knew I had to protect my mind. I knew I had to write down what I was doing so I can definitely grow and definitely get past the situation, because I understood that the body takes commands from the mind. Mm-hmm. And I knew I had to write down. And for me, it was as simple. It was as simple as I had to say, I want to live. Mm-hmm. And it was just that simple. That was my goal for that day. I want to live. And I think a lot of times when it comes to success, sir, people really think it's big things. But a lot of times when people fail to realize, it's the very small things that count. And we have to really be realistic about where we are and what direction we want to go in. And because for me, just those simple words, I want to live, and put my mindset where I need to go and where I need to be, that right there was enough right there. But sir, you hit a good point on being committed to that plan. What in your journey, and from the good times and even the low times, what did you do? What helped you stay committed?
Well, you know, Michael, one of the key things to commitment, I think you hit on, and that is desire, the will. And desire is like the fuel in the furnace that makes your body run. It's the fuel in the furnace that makes your dreams manifest. It's the fuel in the furnace that makes you get up. You know, it's not how many times you stumble down, but it's the number of times you pick yourself up off the ground and keep moving on to meet your goals. And that desire is the key. If the desire is not there, no matter how profound the plan is, it will not bear fruit. And so the desire, the why, that thing that says, I got to do this, as you were saying, I got to live. You know, there were some interesting studies with parents who had children who had, you know, some type of situation. Maybe they were autistic, you know, something where they would have challenges taking care of themselves. And parents who had kids like that willed themselves to live to be able to take care of those children until the children passed on. And there's a study somewhere that once they've completed that task, then those parents generally pass on, make their transition shortly thereafter. So the will to live, the will to live for you took you from where you were to where you are right now and to even greater heights. The will to accomplish that which you set out to do. And see, a will is directed. If you have no
Exactly.
written goals, there's nothing to will. You just don't get up and say, I will to be successful. You got to put some skin on those bones. You got to put some pictures on that statement. But the will is
Excellent.
that power that makes it happen.
That's right. And like Mr. Benny Reynolds said, it's the daily grind.
Yes.
And that daily grind is so important, sir. And you know, we see it so many times where people are looking for the quick fix. They're looking for the quick buck. And when they see, it's sad that we live in a society now where our children and people see these images on TV. And those images make everything about success look easy. And especially when you have so many different programs and things out here that say, hey, you know, if you get with us and we can show you how to make $10,000 in 30 days. And what people fail to realize, the one thing it was so important is the discipline.
Yes.
And have that daily grind takes the discipline. And so my question for you, sir, on your journey to get where you are now, how did you hone yourself to be disciplined, to get past those low points and to grow, not just making money, but like you said it very eloquently. You said you became a better person, and
yes.
You become a better person, put you where you're at. So kind of share, if you kind of reflect, kind of share with the viewers, just exactly what did it take for you on becoming more disciplined to grow where you had to grow to get you where you're at now.
Yes. Well, you know, discipline is doing the things that must be done consistently and continuously. And to develop discipline is a lot like developing your muscles. Discipline is a learned skill. I think that's a key point. That
Yes.
many of us are not naturally disciplined. It often depends on the type of household you grew up in. I have found that many of my friends were military babies, and they grew up in a fairly rigid environment where people followed the book. You know, in the military, you take orders, you execute the orders. And they had a tendency to be very disciplined. I did not come from that kind of family, but my father was one who got up every day at the same time. He got up 4:30 every morning. He was a janitor, and he was a janitor for one company, and then he had his own little business where he cleaned up a number of small offices that couldn't afford a full-time janitor. And so I think the first order of discipline is your rising and going to sleep. If you can put yourself in that rhythm where you get up every day at the same time, where you go to bed every night at the same time, that's the first stage of discipline, because then you put your body in a harmonic for health. When you were going through your challenges, it was important to get your rest, because from your rest, you can regenerate your mind, but also it gives your body a chance to regenerate itself on a cellular level. And so the key to my discipline was that daily thing, to get up every day the same time. I don't need an alarm clock. I have one, and I always look at it as it goes off because I'm already up. And then to force yourself to go to sleep at a certain time. Once you make a commitment, you say, I have to get 6 hours sleep. My sleep cycle is 6 to 6 hour, 15 minutes. So I have to get at least 6 hours of sleep. So I got to go to bed a certain time to get up a certain time. First order of discipline. And then when you start to create habits, you know, we are where we are because of our thoughts, our feelings, our habits, and our associations.
Absolutely.
And so the habit is that discipline it becomes a habit for you. And so anything you can do for 21 days, one of my teachers, we used to call it the goal. It was the blue vase. And what it was, every day for 21 days, in the morning you got up, you took an object that was symbolic of your life. I used, instead of a blue vase, I had a beautiful brass and silver cup. And in the morning at a certain time, you set that cup upright and you say, today is a great day for living, sharing, and being alive. I do everything I
Absolutely.
need to do to make it happen for me. And
Absolutely,
then
sir.
at the end of the day, you turn that cup over and you say, I did everything I could with what I had to do it with to make tomorrow the way I want it to be. If you can do that for
Absolutely. That's
21 days, you've started a habit and you've started that foundation for discipline.
absolutely. And as Benny Reynolds just said, success is a lifelong process.
Absolutely.
And definitely,
A, a
definitely,
continuous realization.
exactly. And one thing people have to really come to a mental grip with when they love themselves and they get deep with God and truly understand that, you know, the fact that they're living and the fact that they're breathing, that just that alone is still it's always a divine purpose for them. And the fact that, you know, we are always achieving, and like you say, even now, so like you say, you have been a success. You have been a truly big success in the more than one industry. You've been a success as an attorney, success as a motivational speaker, success as a master trainer, you know, success as a leader in network marketing. So truly, sir, it's a great thing. And we know that when it comes to success, I think the big issue I think a lot of people have, like you say, is number one, them knowing what their why is. But I think a lot of people don't paint the picture of what the success look like and feels like to them. And I think you said it best. I read an article about Oprah, and she said when it came to her journey, it was never about the money. And here it is. You look at Oprah; she's worth, was it $2.5 billion now? She say what has got her the way she is now. It wasn't the money. It was her becoming a better person. It was her being a better her. And I think it's people who are in business and anyone who's looking to develop their skill set for success, you have to work on and develop you. And Sarah, I think you hit it right on the point when you mentioned about being disciplined and going to bed at a certain time and knowing how much rest you need and getting up. And so I want to add to that. For me, what was truly crucial for me was putting a meditation plan together, because truly, if you don't have a prepared mind, you're not going to be able to handle all the thousand things that are constantly pulling at you to distract you, you know?
Yes.
So for you, sir,
meditation, like you know, in the country, when you have a well, you have to go to that well to get water to refresh yourself, to give yourself life. And meditation is like the well that you go to on a daily basis. In the Bible, it says, meditate in the law day and night. Sit by the rivers of water. The rivers are symbolic of your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind contains the infinity of all possibilities. And to sit quietly by that rivers of water as your subconscious mind flows before you, and then create in that the pictures that you want your life to become. So meditation is powerful. You know, their whole cultures, the Eastern cultures, they're all of the wise men, all the successful men, meditation is a key and integral part of their daily activities. So you got it right on the head there, brother.
Absolutely, sir. And for you, what do you do for meditation? I know some people is listen. So I know some people is listen to some actual meditation music of, you know, nature sounds. Some people is actually just listen to some praise and worship. Some people actually just start off in solitude, and some start off with prayer. So, what has been a strategic plan for you that's been successful for you, sir?
Well, my meditation begins with a prayer, and a very simple prayer, and it says, Father, put me in rhythm and harmony with all that's good for me. And then I dwell on that, being in rhythm and harmony with all that's good for me. And then out of that peace that comes from that, I start my breathing exercises first, because your breathing is the Indians' breath is prana, which is energy. And so
Yes.
without breath, there's no life. And so the breathing exercise, once again, the discipline of breathing at a regular pace, one, and then deep breathing down into your diaphragm so that you're bringing in energy to even the bowels of your body, which then transforms you. And then from there, I make pictures. I have pictures that I love to see. I love being up high. I love high-rise apartments. I love, and that all that changes. You know, there was a time when I wanted to have a big house, and I built 3 houses over my lifetime, and I promised the good Lord and 3 responsible people I'll never build another one. You know, that was for that season. Now I prefer to be up high because I like to see the horizon, and I like to see the rising and the setting of the sun. And I like to be above the noise. Noise bothers me. I don't use, sometimes I use meditation music, some of the Zen music compositions on YouTube. I do that a lot. There's one I like to use called Meditation Music Ocean Views, where you can have beautiful meditation and you can hear the sound of the waves and the rhythm of the waves. That the waves create a rhythm. It's like the ocean breathing. And from there, I have my statements that I use each day, my personal affirmations. And then when I complete it, I say, "It is done." And then I come out of that. You know how when you finish your meditation, you have this coolness around your eyes very often. Exactly. And that lets you know that you've gotten there and it's done.
Well, Mr. Harris, you definitely hit on a good point right there. When it comes for a person who is looking to actually acquire the right skill set for success and definitely get into that meditation process. And Neil Bennett, welcome to the show. And just to go through that process, and you're right, you have to get into that zone, and you have to be consistent with it. And Mr. Harris, one thing I'm seeing more and more, a lot of people are looking for success, but they forgetting one clue that I've been really digging deep in for this past week is about being persistent to be consistent.
Yes.
And I think that is so crucial to get up and grow and definitely get to the next level. And so for you, what things have, once you, like you say, you got the meditation part straight, and for you, when it comes to your skill set and for you being consistent, what things did you put in place to grow in your skill set? When you made your transitions into different fields, what did you do to actually get there?
Well, you know, Michael, one of the reasons that I do network marketing, and I've network marketing over the last, 25, 30 years has been very good to us because once we figured it out, you know, 97% of the people in network marketing don't make any money. Okay. 1% make outrageous money. And once we figured it out, I call it solve the riddle of survival. If we have a certain number of hours in each day, and if we spend the majority of those hours trading time for dollars, creating enough money to live in, a fashion that we're comfortable and our family is comfortable, that a part of this growth process means that you have to solve that riddle. You can't keep giving up 18 hours a day to make enough money just to survive and take care of your family. And so I found network marketing for me to be the best way to leverage my time and enjoy the things that I love doing. I love teaching. And I have found that a person only becomes as successful as their level of personal development permits. You know, you attract the money and the success in your space based on how you become. It's not so much what you get in the success process, it's the person you become. And so when you become a patient person, when you become a persistent person. You know, the Bible says, seek and you shall find, knocking it shall be opened, asking it will be answered, but it doesn't say how long. And what we bring to the equation is that desire and that consistency to knock until the door is opened, to ask until we get the answer, to seek until we find it. And it is through this persistent process that we grow. We won't grow unless we seek. We won't grow unless we knock. We won't grow unless we ask. But when we do that and accomplish the things that we're seeking, we grow each and every step of the way.
Absolutely, sir. You definitely hit the nail with that. And definitely one thing I know when it comes to success, our dreams have to be somewhat, our dreams need to be in line with what we're doing, you know. And truly, one thing I'm learning more and more, Mr. Harris, is that it's crucial that we create and have that supportive success team around us.
Yes.
Because I truly believe the lack of people or the wrong people will definitely be a big part, whether we achieve what we're trying to achieve or we don't achieve what we're trying to achieve. And so for you, sir, how did you create your success team? And what were some of the things that you were able to grow in so you were able to have the right people around you so you were able to elevate yourself and go to the level that you aspire to?
Well, you know, Michael, I think one of the key to building a team is to be a team player. And when I say that, I mean this, that whatever you expect of your team, you do it yourself. You know, in the military, there are two types of leaders. There's one type of leader that will point to the hill and say to his troops, take that hill. And then there's another type of leader, the Teddy Roosevelt type, that would get on that horse and he said, let's take that hill together. And he goes charging up the hill himself. And so one of the keys of leadership is to be that which you're seeking others to be, to lead by example rather than by proclamation, or even some people think that they can demand, you know, that people follow them. But the best leaders are those who lead by example, who do the work themselves. And in doing the work, they do two things. They let the others on their team know it's possible. And then two, it shows them how. And so by demonstrating what you want them to do, you can then coach and guide them and help them grow. Because you know that once they can do what you do, many of them will do it better. And you thank yourself, you say, well, good job. And you network marketing, for example, because you're training other people to generate income for themselves, the nature of the structure is you automatically get yours. So we say one of our goals was to help 100 people become six-figure income earners in this particular endeavor.
So what you said, Mr. Harris, will make the key difference is, and that's really important for the viewers to understand what you said, what you just said. What the key is, especially with network marketing, especially knowing it's a 97% failure rate. What you have actually done, what your success is, you actually have one clear goal, and you make sure everyone rallies around that one goal, and you're making sure you're leading the way. So you're not, like you say, so they're not just hearing you flap your lips and you just giving lip service. They see you doing it, and when they see you doing it, and they're able to duplicate that, and they see that, and they're also growing as an individual. I think that's so important, network marketing, because I think too many times people get into network marketing and they're looking for the quick fix. They're looking to make the money. And truly, like you said, when you have that team, that true team camaraderie, where they know we have a clear goal of reaching 100 people to make X amount of dollars, and we know we need to be putting in X amount of effort and X amount of time in, and we know we put that time in, that's a great thing right there. I think that's something very important for our listeners to understand out there, that you have to, even at network marketing, you have to go beyond what the company is teaching and showing and actually have that clear point of action. Because if you don't have that clear point of action and everyone is coming together for that one goal, and I think you make what makes it so great, Mr. Harris, is that one goal, everyone knows they're a part of it.
Yes.
And I think for me, I've seen very, very clearly when people see that they're not a part of something as a whole, and they see that I'm doing this by myself, and I'm trying to achieve by myself, I'm trying to grow this by myself, people get discouraged.
Yes.
And it's one of the big causes for people dropping out of network marketing. And I want to definitely thank Robert Lewis and DeVore Murray for coming onto the show.
Welcome. Well, you know, churches work because the churches that really grow, people feel a part of it because they have jobs. They have, and I mean jobs from income, I mean tasks, something that they can do. When I worked with Reverend Ike, he was one of the first mega churches, and we'd have 3,000 to 5,000 people out on a Sunday. And you talk about the person who was the usher, her job was to hand out those programs, and that was her job. I mean, and she took pride in it, and she folded them all up neatly. The person who helped the people get seated. And so when you can give people jobs and they feel a part of something, then there's a collective vibration. You know, the law of attraction operates on an individual level. But, you know, the Bible says when two or more minds on one accord, there's a third mind among them. And what that means is that when you put people together on one accord, they create a harmonic vibration so that 1 + 1 is greater than 2. 5 + 5 is greater than 10. And it creates a harmonic vibration that attracts into your space outrageous results. We have a young man that joined our company recently, and he has done in 30 days what most people, I think no one has done it in less than a year, the level he's accomplished so far. In 1 week, he accomplished what it took me 18 months to do. And I'm pretty good at what I do. And so you say, well, what was he doing? He had such a clearly defined goal. He said, I'm looking for this to accomplish that. And he didn't waste time trying to push a rope. Okay?
Exactly, yes.
He said, I want to lead people who want to go where I want to go. I want to lead people who want to go where they want to go. And where they want to go supports where I want to go.
You preaching now, Mr. Harris. Preach, Doctor,
well,
preach.
You know, let me tell you, well, there's a book called Journey to the East, written by Hermann Hesse, Hesse, Hermann Hesse. And in that book, there's a movement to go to the East to see the great Fatima, to see the great temple. In other words, that everybody wanted to have this great, profound spiritual experience, each person on their own. But they all knew that in order for them to do it individually, they had to work as a team. Nobody could do it individually by themselves. And when they worked together, the watchword was service, that he who was the greatest servant was the greatest leader. And each step along the way, there were tests to see how committed you really were. In network marketing, there are people who, when they hear a no, they give up on their dreams. You know, 3 people tell them no, and they're like, I'm out of this. I forget the dream. It ain't happening. But the final test in the Journey to the East was to let each person think that the mission had failed.
Exactly.
And so what that meant was this: if you had changed your ways, your lifestyle, your behavior to become a part of the team, then and the team is no longer there, do you continue those practices? Do you continue your daily meditation? Do you continue to do the things that you were doing as a team member because it's a good idea? Because it's a good thing for you to do personally. In other words, if you thought the team had failed, your personal mission was still to get to the East, to get to that temple, to get to that place. And that was where most people fail. When they thought the mission had failed, they quit. They became discouraged. And so in building a team, you want each person to be so committed to their own goal that whether I'm there or not, they're still going to pursue it. I tell people,
Exactly.
I want you to make this thing whether I'm here or not, because if you're depending on me, I may not be there. So that you depend on you for your dream. I'm opening the way. I'm teaching you the skills, but the desire's got to be so strong in you that if you say, Dr. Harris, I gotta cut you loose. I gotta go climb that mountain. I'm leaving here now. I'm either gonna get to the top of that mountain, or you're gonna find me dead in the valley. But I'm gone. That's what you want.
Exactly. And you hit on a good point there, sir. And definitely one thing. You hit on earlier when you mentioned that young man who got that success in the first month. Definitely the power of service. And when we look at Jesus Christ, and we look at one of the things he taught is that whoever wants to be great, the greatest, must become the least, must become the servant.
Yes.
And I think that's truly when it comes to leading a team, leading people, and wanting to progress forward. When people see that a person who's making money and being successful, when they see that person doing the most lowliest mentally, whatever you say, a thing, and they see them just serving, and it doesn't go for title, it have to do looks, it didn't have to do with status, and that's what really gets people in, really a power of service, and really just seeing that, being that servant, having that servant heart, because everyone know that whether it be church, school, community, everyone wants to feel good. But guess what? Everyone wants to be around that person who's a servant.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they're around a person who's a servant, that person is giving. They're giving their heart. They're giving their time. And it's that unselfishness that sets people up for victory and helps them to gain that skill set they need for success. So, Dr. Harris, so for you, what are some of the things you've done to help your team to have that power of service and to really become the servant, to really grow individually first and then grow as a team? What are some of the things you've done to put in place?
Well, Michael, it's interesting. You have to guide a person. As they say, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. My job is to get them to the water. And I try to get them to the water, one, by living the example. I think when you have an authentic life, people look for authenticity now. Very often I'll be training a group and they'll come into my office and they'll see my call list and they go like, "You really make these calls?" I'm like, "Yeah." Why would I teach you something that I'm not doing? And so as I give a person the skills, like every business has its skill set. If it's network marketing, it's how to set your goals. It's how to database, how to meet people, how to invite them to take a look at your opportunity, how to explain it, how to show the plan, how to follow up, how to answer their questions and their objections, and then how to get them started on that whole process again. That as I demonstrated, and they see, I like to do monkey see, monkey do, OJT. As I demonstrated, and then I watch them do it, the first thing I want to do is I want them to learn, practice, and master the skills. And I know that they've mastered it when they can teach, demonstrate, critique, and certify. And the determining factor there is the critique. That when you're teaching a person and a person is not yet their authentic self, when you give them that critique, they start to deflect, make excuses. That's when you know there's work to be done. I'm sure when you're working with people, when you say, once a person has accepted your leadership, there's some people that act like they've accepted it, but they haven't. And one of the tests is when you give them critique. Okay.
That's right.
I was teaching a class once, and a couple of my leaders I was teaching, they first they raised their hands, and then after a while they were blurting out a couple of comments and additions. And they didn't know it, but there was a person in the room who had actually been my teacher.
Oh,
He
man.
hadn't said a word the entire time. And afterwards he said, they didn't get it. And he said, if you're the teacher, then the student must be clear who he or she is. And so for them to be blurting out, it was their ego coming through. And when I thought back on how I'd been training them, every time I gave them critique, they gave me an excuse or a deflection. I remember one person said, well, I've talked to a lot of people in this area, and the people in this area of the country just don't want to be successful, and they don't want to be healthy. They're committed to staying broke and being sick. That was the only way they could justify and rationalize their own lack of understanding of what the process was.
And I think you hit a big point there. I think a lot of people want to be successful, Mr. Harris, but they're not preparing their mind to do the process and learn and grow from the process. Mm-hmm. And so for you, what was one of the ways that helped you to appreciate the process of the journey?
Well, I think you opened with the comment, when you have a coach, that's a person whose leadership and critique you expect. You don't hire a coach to then tell him why you're right. Okay. You hire a coach to have them tell you what you need to do to get better.
Exactly.
And so, some of the things that I've been really working to do is to be a better coach by being a better person.
Exactly.
By being more patient.
Yes. By
learning to do criticism based on where the person is really at. If I'm teaching you, I got to give you a critique that's uplifting, that's empowering.
Yes.
So I can't give you a critique that disempowers you, that makes you feel bad. And so it meant for me, I had to find ways to love people a little bit more, to love them to the point where I could see their faults, but I could find a way to share not what their fault was, but what they needed to do to go beyond that, and in a fashion that empowered them and made them feel good.
Oh man, that's powerful right there. That definitely helping a person just to find their passion and to find their purpose, and definitely helping them stay motivated through the process. And I know for me, one of the chapters in my book, I talk about, you have to say no to 1,000 things, because there are so many distractions out here between negative people, negative environments, and it's always something fighting for our attention.
Yes.
And we truly, for me, I had to get to that point where I had to realize I had to focus on just that one idea, that one concept. And just going back to what I said earlier, for me, when I was at my sickest, the only thing that was important for me and the concept I had to be focused on is I want to live.
I want to live.
And it was just as simple as that. Yes. And I think it's so important that everyone that's listening tonight, that you really look at your life and you look at what's pulling at you, what's distracting you, what's taking your time. And it's really, this is a time now, since it's early in the year, to actually write down what's distracting you, what's pulling you back from the time that you need to put in, what's stopping you from working on you and developing you, becoming you being the better person, what's stopping you from taking even just the smallest steps of doing something for 5-10 minutes each day that's going to be something that's going to add value to your life add value to those around you love, and allow you to be a better person and accomplish the things that you dream about and the things you hope about, you know.
Yes.
And so for me, I think everyone need to write down that one concept, write down that one idea, and stick with it, and do not let anything interfere with it. And too many times, it's just like in our thoughts. I think a lot of people really have good intentions on really going where they say they want to go. But when it comes back to the mental state, they've let so many negative thoughts in their mind. They've let people put in negative thoughts. They've even self-doubted and talked themselves out of opportunities and things that they can do. And
Yes.
so it's so crucial. That's one thing I talk about in my book, is just really how a person needs to burn their thoughts at the root. When you burn them negative thoughts at the root, and you plant those good seeds in, and you water those good seeds, and as those seeds grow, and you see those weeds, you burn those weeds. Because truly, when we truly want to be successful, we really have to be realistic where we are at, and really write down what we need to change, and make sure our environment is protected. We have to protect our mind and protect our environment, and look at who is around us. Who are we listening to? Because that is so important. Who are we listening to? And I remember one time I was mentoring a young man, and he asked me I was sharing with him how important it is to read. And he said I don't see no value in reading. I'm just reading books. I said, no, you got it all wrong. Readers are leaders. Everyone who wants to be successful, if you want money, if you want fame, whatever, they want to be the best. The only way you can be the best in whatever you do, you need to study those who have gone before you. And the best way to do that is through a book. And sir, Mr. Harris, Dr. Harris, I know with you have a great book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success. If you can I share some of the titles you have and just the framework behind that?
Sure. Well, the 12 laws were laid out. It's funny, Michael, it started at 10, but as we began to really evolve and write the book, it became clear. And as we go through it, the law of thought, in the Bible, it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Yes.
And that evolves into the law of change. You change your life by changing your thinking. It says, be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. The law of vision. The Bible in the Habakkuk, it says, write the vision and make it plain upon tablets, that he may run that readeth it. If you don't write the vision and write it not just in words, but in sensory images and visions. The fourth law is the law of command. What you say is what you get. The world was spoken into existence. It says, in the beginning was the word. And as you were just saying, who are you listening to? Whose words are you letting come into your consciousness to create your reality?
Yes.
The fifth law, the law of attraction, human magnetism, that you attract what you are. Like attracts like. If you find your life filled with unhappy, miserable, unsuccessful people, don't complain about it. Look at yourself. You always bring yourself to the party.
Yes.
And so what are you doing to attract those kind of people into your life? The law of focus and discipline. You talked about that. Whatever you focus on grows. We say it all the time. Keep your eye on the prize. What you focus on longest becomes your strongest. If you focus on failure, you become efficient at failing. But if you focus on success, you become efficient at success. The law of action. Let me tell you how to be most effective in doing what must be done. When you write that plan, action makes it happen. The Bible says, whatever your hand findeth to do, do it with all your might. So to always do your best, do it completely. The law of value. Don't waste your time on unproductive endeavors. The greatest gift that the good Lord has given us is time.
Yes.
And so we ask ourselves from moment to moment, what is the best use of my time right now? when I consider my goals, my vision, and my purpose. And we can continue, but that I think kind of gives you a flavor of how the book moves and the areas that it deals with. We've gone through the first 8 laws quickly.
You did a great job there, sir. That's definitely a book that people definitely need to pick up and read, and definitely to enhance their thoughts, and definitely put themselves in a state of mind to definitely to progress forward, and to definitely have that focus and discipline that they need. So, Dr. Harris, we getting ready to close out here. How can everyone, if you can, just give a quick last minute statement, and just let everybody know how they can get in contact with you, to reach out to you to get your book, and definitely listen to your motivation.
Absolutely. Well, the thought I'd like to leave you with is you become what you think about most of the time. So think about that which you want to be, you want to do, you want to have. You become what you feel. If you feel that you're going to be successful, you become successful. So feel worthy of that which you're seeking, and it will be yours. Our book is available at www.12uls.com, the number 12uls.com. And we have a website, herbertharris.com. We have a lot of videos there. I've done 183 videos on different topics, from goal setting, vision boards. We just did a section on doing a vision board to help you create those images. So that's herbertharris.com. And I thank you for being on the show. And I salute you for bringing these type of messages to people. I'm always amazed, when I started doing the Millionaire Mentorship calls every Saturday morning, it wasn't growing as fast as I thought it should. And at one point I started to stop doing it. And it seems like the moment you're getting ready to go off track, the universe pulls you back on. Someone called me and they said, look, that was the message I needed to hear. That was the one. Thank you. Thank you. And we haven't missed any since then. So back to you, my friend. Thank you for having me.
Oh, definitely. I definitely want to thank all our viewers out tonight, and definitely just getting some great nuggets from Dr. Harris, just to have that skill set for success. Because, sir, you're truly a role model. You're truly a success story. And even as every day go by, you're still training people, you're leading people, and you're definitely setting an example that the youth need, example that I need, an example that companies need to look at for progressing and moving forward, and definitely taking a hold of success where they need to. So I want everybody to know, if you want to get in contact with me, I am Michael Muse, the Overcomer Coach, because overcoming your fears is not an option. And definitely, if you want to get in contact with me, you can reach me at michaelmusenow.com. That is michaelmusenow.com. You can reach out to me, and I'll get your copy of Rise and Burn, and definitely how to overcome the root of your fears. Thank you, everyone. You have a great night, and have a great night, and see you next Tuesday at the same time at 9 p.m. And thank you so much for coming on, Mr. Herbert Harris.
Thank you so much, Michael. Remember this, the best is yet to come.
That's right.